Alright guys, welcome back to yet another Isaac Finance video. So today we're going to step away from the analysis and we're going to be looking at what is proof of stake, what is proof of work, and how do these work in terms of in cryptocurrency. And the reason I'm covering this topic is because it is a foundational topic and a lot of people actually don't understand how these things work because they can be quite difficult to understand the intricacies of them. So in today's video we're going to cover the basic fundamentals of how it all works, but not necessarily the nitty gritty, but the basic fundamentals. So when you hear it, you understand how it works. Okay. So first we should start with, obviously I've got a whiteboard here and we're going to start. So I'm going to teach you guys today. But first we got proof of work. Okay. So proof of work is essentially what Bitcoin is, right? And what it means is basically what happens is, so what in proof of work, basically you have miners. So let's say you have a miner here. And this guy is your miner. Okay. So we're going to start with proof of work so you guys can understand how these things work. So proof of work, you have miners, right? There's many of these people. Maybe there's like 200 miners. So basically all these guys here are competing to solve a mathematical problem. Now let's say the problem is 2x plus 1 equals find x. Okay, so you're trying to find what x is, right? Obviously it's a big math equation. It's not something so simple like this. So it's going to take a lot of computational power. Let's imagine we're a computer that can only solve tiny problems. So this might be a bit difficult. So the first computer to solve this is the computer that has the rights to then create the next block. Okay. So that's basically what's happening. So these guys are basically fighting to solve this math problem. And whoever solves it is the one that's able to solve the next block in the blockchain. So you have the blockchain, right, like this. And they're fighting to be the guy that can forge the next one. Okay, so this is basically what it means in layman's terms in a simple explanation. And what happens then after that is when you've created the block, when you've solved the problem, you get rewarded in the token. So maybe it's BTC for people who are using Bitcoin. A lot of the other ones have moved to proof of stake, and we'll go over that in a second. But proof of work is still with Bitcoin. So yeah, you get rewarded in Bitcoin, or you might get rewarded in transaction fees. So it's a small section. But yeah, these things may add up to your rewards. That's why you're incentivized to be a miner. And then obviously you can write appreciation of the asset. But yeah, basically you need the computational power to be able to do this, to solve these problems. And that was also what stops malicious intent in a sense. So basically you have to invest a lot into your rig to basically be the one who can solve these problems and yeah, end up getting rewards. So that's basically how it works in a very simple term. It obviously goes way more into the nitty gritty of how it works, and there's tons of videos on that. But in this video, I'm just going to cover the basics. Okay. So in the next one, we've got proof of stake. So proof of stake, basically instead of working for the result, you're staking for the result. So here's how I'll explain it. So basically, a pool of people who have money. Well, okay, there's different types of staking too. But say you have, let's just do local staking. So local is when you are staking and you are a validator yourself. So maybe you have a bag of Ethereum. So here's your Ethereum tokens. You've staked this Ethereum, right? So this Ethereum and you, as a validator, using your hardware resources, whatever, are the one. Well, basically, the more you have, the more chance there is you'll become selected to forge the next block. So it's basically a chance based on how much you have. So you can be the one who forges the next block based on how many tokens you have and a few other factors. Okay, there's more factors I saw, but if yeah, is a basic underlying understanding. That's how it works. The more you have, the more rewards you get. That's why you have these APYs and like central exchanges. But Ethereum was actually a proof of work system, and then it moved to proof of stake with ETH 2.0. And the thing about this is, I believe you have to have 25 stake to 25 Ethereum to stake and to become a validator. But due to the centralized exchanges, they basically packaged up everything nicely and given it in a way where they'll do the back-end stuff and all the validations, all that stuff. You just got to provide the Ethereum to be a staker, and you basically go into a staking pool. So the pool will be something like this, a collective pool of everyone's bags. like that. You don't worry about the back end. They solve the hardware. They solve all that. You don't need to be a validator in the sense that you're running node in a computer. So you're not the one that takes penalties if it goes down, but you might. It depends on the exchange policy. But basically, your tokens are here. Everyone's tokens are here too. And this pool will then be used to then have a chance to create the next node like that. And then when it's done, you get minted rewards. So, well, not necessarily minted, depends on how the protocol is done. So Bitcoin, it has a set amount and it will mint when you've completed the transaction and completed the block. As a miner, you'll get that reward and that will go into your wallet or whatever, how that works, depending on how you set it up. And for staking, basically you're doing mining, but you're staking. So essentially the same end goal, but in a different route. You get there. This is a lot more energy efficient opposed to mining, where you have to solve problems that don't even need to be solved because they're kind of useless and it's a waste of power to solve problems that aren't even related to the transaction. But with staking, you don't have to do that, okay? Now, the thing about staking is depending on the contract you've set up with maybe your exchange or maybe whatever you're using, you generally have to lock it in for a certain amount of time. So if you don't do that and you disobey, you'll get penalties to your staking. Maybe you might lose some of your staking tokens. And there can be all sorts of things related to that. So basically, you're rewarded for holding the token, which incentivizes you to be a holder of what you're doing and sort of like, stop bad intent, stop you from like gaining the system per se. It's meant to sort of equalize everything and make it fair, So with the proof of work, the way they sort of remove malicious intent is it's like not really the best way. I'm trying to figure out which one's better. I don't know which one's better. But proof of work, you basically, obviously the same computer or same people can't be the ones who are creating the next node or the next block, sorry. So because the fact that it requires so much computational power and other people competing with resources too, so it's all a competition and it's a constant fight, and that sort of equalizes everything out. So that's how that basically works. Obviously, this was a very not in-depth version, but it's the basics of it. And if it's confusing at all, leave a DM below. I will sort of clarify that in text. But yeah, it is confusing and it is sort of hard to talk about. But yeah, it's very important to understand how these things work. That's why you have staking rewards on exchanges for proof of stake tokens. So obviously you don't have that with Bitcoin because it's a proof of work. So you're not going to have the option to stake your Bitcoin unless it's sort of one of those things where you're lending your Bitcoin and they're using it to do stuff with, sort of like how an interest rate system works with banks. But that's not staking in the same way that it is with proof of stake. So yeah, I hope that guys makes sense. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next Isaac Finance video. For now, peace out.